Welcome to the Level 1 Lounge, where we give our uneducated talks on anything and everything gaming. So we've got a couple of the usual suspects here tonight. It's just going to be the three of us for this week's episode of the podcast. But first up, we've got Agent Maverick,
Hey guys,
and we
how's it
have
going?
Irish Bandit Rob,
What's up?
and of course we've got myself tonight. I'll be hosting. I am Rider Pride 639. So we've got a fun little episode here for you today. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of gaming news that has come up over the past week. But first, we're going to hit the power button. We're going to grab our controllers and we're going to start booting up. So, as we do every week, we always have a burning question, but we're going to go back to an oldie that we haven't asked in quite some time. We're going to go through each of us here, and we're going to ask, what are we playing currently? It's been a while. So, Agent Maverick, let's start with you. What have you been playing this week?
So, if you guys follow my Facebook page, the new Geek Corner, I did put up a review of the Rise of Ronin. We kind of been jokingly calling it the Rise of the Robin on this podcast because of a typo I had. Anyways, so I've played through that a little bit. I got to the point where I got disappointed. It's kind of become a part of my backlog, my ever growing backlog now. Did get my review out. Right now, actually, I'm kind of feeling like I'm between games. So the main one that I've been jumping into for the most part has been Helldivers 2. Ryder, of course, you've jumped in with Chew and I there a couple times this last little while. We've had an absolute blast, pun intended. See, that's funny because I accidentally dropped a cluster bomb on us this weekend twice
On more than
in
one
row
occasion.
within 5 minutes. I prepped it. I was ready to throw. I got hit and I dropped it. That was it. Wiped us. But yeah, that's been kind of the one that I've been going to. Next week, I'm very excited to get my hands on the new Final Fantasy 16 DLC. So I want to give my thoughts and feelings about that on my page here next week. I know we're taking a bit of a break here next week because things are a little bit crazy for me at work here next week. But the game that I'm the most excited for, so I'm kind of holding out for, is actually Stellar Blade. I had a chance to play the demo. I know Ryder had a different opinion than I did, but I absolutely loved it. I am super excited for it. It's The Rise of the Ronin was the first game I ever really tried that was Souls-like. This is kind of Souls-like, but it's more kind of a Bayonetta Souls mix almost. So I'm super excited to get my hands on that, and that's kind of what I'm basically trying to kill time on. So right now, it's going to be a lot of Helldivers 2.
Perfect. All right, Irish Bandit Rob, what's been on your docket this week?
Basically, I've just been playing through one of the mods to Doki Doki Literature Club called Window to Your Heart. Fun game, more of a visual novel than anything, but has a good story so far. So I'm intrigued to see where that lands. I'm also going through Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered right now. You'll see the video tomorrow, but I just got finished the Earth Cave, so
Nice.
progressing with that. And off YouTube, I'm back into Final Fantasy VII Remake, playing through that, getting other stuff that I haven't gotten through yet. I'm doing the path that kind of breaks my heart. I'm trying to get the Tifa resolution for Chapter 14. So,
okay, yeah.
So I think I'm on a good track to get that. Then after that, my next replay, I'm going to go for the Barrett route. And other than that, that's about it for me.
All right, excellent. Yeah, and for those of you who are watching, you guys can check out Irish Bandit Rob on his YouTube channel. All those links will be right down below in the video description. So for me, yeah. So as Maverick had mentioned there, I did try out the Stellar Blade demo. Yeah, and unfortunately, my opinion is a little bit different. I like the look and the music of the game. I've never really been big into the whole Soulsborne thing. But yeah, it's kind of got that Bayonetta, Nier Automata kind of feel to it, which is what kind of drew me to it in the first place. But unfortunately, the combat for me really didn't hit with me. so I don't think I'll be picking up the game. But not to take away anything from the game, it does still look pretty fantastic all the same.
It's tough. The combat is challenging. I do feel that it is going to be more forgiving than a Souls game, which is one of the reasons why I'm excited for it as well. Because like Souls, of course, I'm sure that a lot of people are familiar with it. You go to a camp, you move forward, you die, you're back at that camp, all the enemies respawn. There's almost a checkpoint at certain points as well, and you do come back with all of your health potions and all of that as well, which is where I find that it is a little bit more forgiving. But yeah, the combat, I get it. It's not something that that it's easy to deal with. It's heavily focused on parrying, and that window for parrying is not a large window at all.
Yeah.
So I get that for sure.
Yeah, but other than that, and again, as Matt mentioned, lots of Helldivers too. I've been streaming that recently, having a hell of a lot of fun, tons of laughs. I mean, despite the fact that Matt keeps killing us with cluster bombs, we're still giggling our butts off. We're having a grand time. If you guys haven't played Helldivers 2 yet, grab a group of friends and go play it. It is an absolute hoot. Especially when you find out the hard way that friendly fire is always on.
It's real, yeah.
Yeah, it very much is. But yeah, it's a great game. In between, I'm probably going to be looking at going back to either Dragon Quest XI for a bit. I am still kind of playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm trying to clean up all the extra side quests, behind the scenes stuff that I've missed. But I don't really feel like streaming that, because I find that would probably just be a really, really boring stream, just constantly going through, like all the Chadley battles and things like that. Like, I've gotten through a few of the hard trophies, but yeah, before I do a hard mode run, which I do plan on streaming, I'm gonna clean up some of that side quest stuff first. So I might jump onto some Dragon Quest XI and start making my platinum run on that again as well. So that is what I've been playing for, I guess, for the past week.
I have actually been jumping into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth here and there as well, basically doing the same thing. My goal is to, as you're doing, clean up all the quests and level all my characters up to level 70, get everything done, then just focus on hard mode. Quite like what you're doing.
Yeah. And the good news is that, when you do like the battle arena and the like the Chadley missions and whatnot, yeah, you're gonna level up in a real hurry once you get to the harder missions.
Yeah.
I've already jumped probably like 7 or 8 levels just doing those missions alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good way to do it. But in any case, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we've got our controllers ready, the system's booted up. Let's go ahead and get into level 1. So we are going to be basically focusing just on news this week, and we have a lot of it. Boy, let me tell you. So the first the first topic that we're going to talk about here involves Nintendo. There has been an absolute wave of classic Nintendo games that are selling for insane prices. There is a first production copy of Castlevania, which recently sold for just over $90,000. And as I was saying with the guys before, 35 years ago, if I'd have known that, I definitely would have kept my copy of Castlevania in the box and, let that one ride for 35 years. But we were all kids then.
Don't you wish you had your old collection again?
There's no bloody way you're keeping a great game like Castlevania in the wrapper and first production.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we were kids, we got the games to play the games.
Exactly.
We're not sitting there at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old thinking about, I might want to collect this for 35 years and see what happens. Doesn't really, it's not really on the forefronts of our minds, but some of the other games. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I bet that one of those copies is going to be like, oh, I bought this for my kids 35 years ago. Totally forgot I had it in the back of the closet. I'm moving, and here it is, and I'm going to put it up for sale now.
And that's totally fine. Like, if you forget about, it's like a lost treasure, basically.
Yeah.
You dig stuff out of the closet and going, wow, I had this. But yeah, look at some of the other games that are coming up here. Like a factory sealed copy of Kid Icarus from 1987, another fantastic game, by the way, which sold for just under $82,000. And I'm assuming the prices from the article are in USD. I don't know if it denoted that or not, but sealed copies of Legend of Hero Tanma, Trojan, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. These games are selling for thousands upon thousands of tens of thousands of dollars. There's another one here that was listed, an unopened hang tab printing of Burger Time, which is a very, very rare and obscure game. That one brought in just over $11,000. So I mean, these are insane prices, and like none of them came close to the Mario game auction from 2021, which brought in like $2 million, which is absolutely mind blowing to me. A lot of collectors are still surprised to see that a lot of these mint condition titles are still out there. They're still in circulation. And a lot of people are kind of raising their eyebrows on the sale prices. Like, who pays for this kind of stuff? Well, collectors do. I mean, I'm a collector of things. Maverick, look at your background. You're obviously a collector of things.
Yeah.
Irish Bandit Rob, you're a collector of things.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, we all collect things at some point.
I have on my table.
Yeah. But, I mean, chances are pretty good we can put all of our collections together and get nowhere near what these collections are selling for.
No, I'd absolutely agree. Actually, I did apparently have a story that my parents came across a very early edition of a Superman comic, and I got my hands on it when I was a toddler, and I tore it to shreds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I have no idea which one it was. They told me it was a number one. I don't believe it. It was a number one. But yeah, there's one that's out there that got shredded. I have no idea how much that one was worth now. But yeah,
I'd be afraid to look it up, honestly.
As I said, I don't even know what edition it was. I don't know which what number it was. I know nothing about it. The funny thing is I do have editions of comics that are still in my collection from I think the earliest one is from 81. Like I still have so there's a collection that I have that I don't advertise very much. So anyways. Yeah, definitely a collector.
Rob, what are your thoughts on the Nintendo?
I just think back and say, why did I get rid of any of my old games?
Like even unsealed, they might be worth something.
Yeah, but sealed is better. But unsealed and out of the box, maybe you could get a couple hundred for it.
Yeah,
but
the thing is, like, looking at some of these titles, especially like Castlevania and Mario.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not shocked, if that makes sense. Like I'm not, it's just a lot of these games, they revolutionized gaming. Like we've talked about Mario lots last week and with March Madness, and we all kind of agreed that Mario has done a lot for the gaming world. So that one's not a shock.
Yeah.
Castlevania, they're starting to do Netflix series and that type of thing as well on it, and it's taken off. So that all makes sense to me. So some of these other games, like I'm going to be honest, Burger Time, I know I'm not overly familiar with that one.
Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty obscure title.
Yeah,
Burger Time's a classic.
Yeah. All right, on to the next part. We're still continuing on with the Nintendo theme here. So we are bidding a fond farewell to the Wii U and Nintendo 3DS online services. So this particular news marks the end of an era. So games like Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, and a few others, they will no longer be playable online on the Wii U and 3DS systems as of April 8th, 2024. So that's 3 days ago as of the of the recording of this podcast. So Nintendo has officially closed the chapter on those two particular consoles. Not really a surprise, much like as technology advances and moves forward, as technology becomes obsolete, support systems, have to be phased out, things like that. I imagine this. I'm surprised it actually took them this long to shut down those particular services with the success of the Switch. Rob, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was never a fan of the Wii U, so like I played it a little bit, but I just wasn't blown away by it. But I mean, it's like you said, technology comes and goes, and maybe it's time for Wii U and 3DS servers to go bye-bye.
And I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think it's going to be opening up a lot more server space for other opportunities, right? Like, I mean, we're kind of sitting back, waiting for a Switch 2 announcement, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
that could still potentially happen later this year. I think announcement, not release, because the news stories that I've come across with the Switch 2 is that it was expected for holiday this year, but they have delayed it a year. Is the rumors that I've heard? Of course, this was unconfirmed, so I'm not overly shocked. And I actually did find some news out, and Nintendo's not the only one that's making this decision. As of July 29th, 2024, Microsoft Xbox will be shutting down the 360 store as well. So
Again,
they're
not
following
surprised
suit
there.
as well.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And we're talking about generation, like a generation or two behind, right? And I mean, the Switch has been out forever, even now at this point, right? So these are not surprising revelations. And as I said, I think it's about time that some of happens. It sucks for those that are still enjoying the, you know, games like Mario Kart and all of that right now, but you had to expect it to happen.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I mean, and
definitely.
it costs money to maintain those servers too. So I mean, like if
Mhm.
there's no longer a revenue stream coming from those particular lines, yeah, there's no real point. I mean, we're gonna have this conversation again, 10, 15 years down the road. Where Nintendo shuts down the Switch servers, Xbox
Yeah,
Series X and S, those particular servers and stores are gonna get shut down. I mean, that's the way the technology cycle goes.
absolutely. No,
Yep.
100% agree.
All right, so we're going to jump into the next little bit of news. So we're going to be jumping from Nintendo over to Sony for a bit. So our first little bit of news here revolves around Knights of the Old Republic, and it sounds like Sony is going to be checking out of the Knights of the Old Republic remake. So their development ran into trouble not long after its announcement. I mean, this has been kind of an ongoing piece of news for a few years now. The game was originally being developed by Aspire Studios under the Embracer Group, but was delayed indefinitely after the studio fired two of its directors. But following the reports that the remake was in development hell, Embracer did announce that they had handed the project over to another studio called Saber Interactive. But not long afterwards, the Embracer Studios itself, suffered from some financial turmoil and ended up offloading a bunch of their studios and IPs as quickly as they could. And after weeks of rumors, the company had confirmed that it had sold Saber Interactive for just under $250 million. But Embracer said that as part of that sale agreement, it'll hold on to a previously announced AAA title based on a major license, which reportedly is the Knights of the Old Republic remake. There's claims that in the midst of all this, that Sony is pretty much kind of checked out of the deal. So I know. Let's go over to Mav because I know he's been kind of eyeballing this one here too, as much as I have.
So I was actually wanting to bring this up last week in regards to the Knights of the Old Republic, how it wasn't dead. I unfortunately missed that news article. I had written it in and unfortunately kind of glanced over it last week with how things were running. So as weird as this sounds, I think this is actually good news. And the reason why I say that this is good news is because we've talked about this time and time and time again about how games are too set with one console, and how we're talking about, a Sony exclusive and all of that, and Xbox exclusivity, like the exclusive games need to go away. It in a sense, some games with Sony still need to stick around. Spider-Man, there's contracts for that, for an example. God of War, Xbox should have Halo, but a lot of these other games, there's no reason for it to not be on other consoles. Knights of the Old Republic was supposed to be a PlayStation exclusive. This to me means that it's not going to be.
Yeah.
And it's going to open the door for more sales and more opportunities for Saber. And I think that this is actually overall going to generate more revenue for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Rob, you got any thoughts on this one?
Well, I was thinking when you said Sony pulled out of nicer old Republic, I was going to ask, do you think that might be the death knell? But what Maverick brought up, that's a good point because now they can shop it around to different companies like Nintendo, Microsoft.
Well, yeah, that's
So
exactly
yeah,
it.
I take back my thought. I agree with Maverick. This is a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I agree with
And
him
I
too. And
totally agree
yeah,
about the whole exclusivity thing.
yeah,
Let's do away with that.
yeah, no, that's kind of what my thought process on it was too. Where like I'm like, okay, is this game dead or isn't it? Like, if you're just gonna announce the death, announce the death. But the way that Mav put it, I totally agree that yeah, this gives Saber Interactive, because they still hold the licensing rights to it now. They still hold the IP rights to it. It gives them a chance to jump over to another more broader studio that has it. Like, maybe they want to look. I mean, I'd be hard pressed in saying this. Maybe they want to look over at EA. Maybe take a look at like Respawn Studios. Maybe they want to jump over to BioWare. Yeah, maybe they do want to jump over to Microsoft and have one of the Microsoft studios take it over.
yeah.
It absolutely 100% it leaves the door open, and yeah, much to the exclusivity clauses that are in a lot of these games. Yeah, no, get them out
The
of here. It's a
biggest
thing of the
the
past.
biggest takeaway for me is that the game is still happening, and that's the thing that I'm excited about.
Yeah,
I never had an opportunity to really play this game. It was released at a time where I was on a hiatus for gaming. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna wait for the remake. But this is actually great news that it's still happening and it's leaving the door open for other consoles. I think that it would have gone to PC with the success of Helldivers 2 on PC and PlayStation. But now, under the circumstances, I think you're going to see it across the platform. I don't think it'll be going to Switch, but maybe Switch 2 could handle it because by the time that it does come out, maybe it could be a launch title for the Switch 2. That's a possibility. That is something that we
Maybe.
could see.
that would be an interesting way to go. That would be really kind of. I don't mean this to sound, or I don't want to say this and make it sound like it's a bad thing. It would be really off-brand for them to do, but in a good way.
Yeah. I think they'd just be included in that
Yeah.
because I think that's the thing is like these triple A gaming studios, they're struggling, and it's because the cost of the games.
Yeah, and
It's
we've talked about
because
that in
there's
the
not
past.
enough. Yeah, it's like beating a dead horse at this point. And the thing is, they need to get the revenue up. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Definitely.
And if this comes out as a launch title on Switch 2, you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to see Darth Malik on the Super Smash Brothers roster afterwards.
That'd be pretty cool.
All right, on to the next little bit of news here. So we are going to be moving from the Sony console over to Xbox. So Xbox, what we got here? So last month's Xbox Game Pass edition of Diablo IV has marked the first Activision Blizzard title to hit the service following Microsoft's acquisition of Activision as a company. And a lot of people have been eagerly awaiting the next arrival ever since. Now, fortunately, it looks like we won't be waiting too long for that. It looks like there is a PC version of the Spyro Reignited trilogy that has been added on the Microsoft Store, which was a huge hit, especially in the streaming community. Tons of people played that one. It was
I
really
loved it.
popular.
Yeah, it's great.
But this is also going to probably indicate that the game is likely being readied for its PC and Xbox Game Pass inclusion. The Pass seems to be preparing for the next Activision Blizzard drop. Reportedly is going to be Call of Duty coming in June in Game Pass. Just to add to that, it likely will also come with the new Call of Duty title that's going to be dropping later this year, which is going to be the Gulf War title, which should be part of the Black Ops series. My particular thoughts on this, it's about time, honestly.
Yeah.
Now that Microsoft has kind of really gotten everything kind of under its wings, from acquiring.
I'm laughing at Under Its Wings. We mentioned Spyro. That's where I'm.
There's a fun little segue in there, but yeah. But yeah, now that Microsoft has Activision under its wings, I think Game Pass is going to blow up a little bit more. There's a lot of really good titles that they can add to it. Spyro obviously being one of them. Like I said, that trilogy was fantastic. I never actually had a chance to play it, but I watched a lot of my favorite content creators play it. And I remember playing the original games, back on the early days of PlayStation, and had a lot of fun with it, trying to collect everything. But watching the creators do it on the new Reignited trilogy, yeah, no, it looks like it was a blast. It's super super popular, so I'm really really happy that that game took off as much as it did. What other games do you guys think should eventually appear on Game Pass?
Oh God, how big is Blizzard's library?
Oh, there's so many games that
Just put 'em all on.
Yeah.
yeah.
How much time do we have on the podcast for that?
Yeah.
I mean the
Oh,
ones that
Warcraft.
I've got a feeling that Crash is probably not too far behind in that case, because it kind
That'd
of
be a
has
good
the
thing.
same feel to it as well. What I would like to see is Crash Team Racing on there.
Yeah, that'd be a
Neck,
good one.
it would be fantastic. Uh, I'm going to just refer to her as my other half here, Taz, and I have lost countless hours and have had countless fights due to as Crash Team Racing. So
And you're still together. Respect.
yeah, actually coming up to 10 years here pretty quick.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Damn.
but yeah, we've lost a lot of time into that, and she still gets frustrated on a couple of the different races that we do, that I end up lapping her. And she laps me, that's kind of the way that things work. But yeah, it's I don't I'm expecting a ton of Call of Duty to be dropped. I would like to see Black Ops 2. They're my personal favorites. Those are the ones that brought me into that series a little bit. I went back and played Modern Warfare later. Great games, but I really enjoyed the Black Ops series a little bit more. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. Those are the games I want to replay.
Yeah. See, I'm the opposite way actually. I like the Modern Warfare series a little bit more than Black Ops, but both series were great games in their own right. Absolutely. Rob, you mentioned something about Warcraft. What was your point on that?
How about adding like Warcraft and StarCraft, like throw it back old school
Oh
with
yeah,
those ones, if they're not
those
already
would be fun.
on Game Pass.
I
Yeah, no,
think we'll see
absolutely, they
them
should.
on. I think we'll see them on PC Game Pass. I do think eventually we'll see
I
them
would
on
pick those
Xbox
up.
Game Pass.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to see a reskinning of that first before it comes out, is what I think is going to happen there. Kind of give it an updated look, and because then they could put it on the store, make a little bit extra money. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah,
the way that's going to work.
and I know we've discussed this kind of off the podcast. We kind of discussed this in our own private groups too. But I know World of Warcraft is also going to be was one of the topics that we talked about. That's the one I don't think will appear on consoles.
No, I don't
As
think
much
so
as
either.
people would like them to. I mean, Star Wars: The Old Republic for the MMO was the same kind of deal. Like it's a fantastic game, but will never appear on consoles for probably the same reason that World of Warcraft likely won't appear on consoles, and that is because of button bloat. Final Fantasy XIV managed to do it the right way, getting the games on the consoles so that abilities that you weren't so overwhelmed with too many abilities where you just don't have enough buttons to push. World of Warcraft has suffered from that on a few occasions where they quite literally had to cut half the abilities out of the game or combine them or amalgamate them to other abilities just to give players enough room on their action bars to be able to perform actions. And then as, more expansions came along, they just kept adding more abilities, and they're basically right back to the same issue where, you can't put them on console because you need to assign 75 different buttons to your abilities, and you just don't have that many buttons on a controller where, like even with an MMO mouse, which is what I normally use, yeah, you're still struggling trying to sort through all your abilities and things like that.
I'm going to disagree to an extent. I think they're going to do something like vanilla and make a way for vanilla WoW to work on Xbox, is what I'm expecting to kind of happen. I think that is more likely. How that translates for the expansions later on, who knows?
Yeah.
But
I will
that,
counter that point in here in a second once you're done.
yeah, sorry. That was basically my point.
Okay. They did bring back vanilla servers for WoW at one point, and I think they included the first 2 expansions. It was really, really popular for about a month, and then everybody left. So that's the one counter I have to that, is that it probably would work for the first little bit, and then eventually that whole nostalgia of playing vanilla likely will end up dying off. It won't really be able to draw in new players, I don't think.
PC Game Pass for sure, though. 100%.
PC Game Pass, yeah, absolutely, it can fit there, not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna jump over to our next little bit of news here. So Dead Space 2 remake has been reportedly shelved due to poor sales. So a reliable gaming insider has claimed that a remake of Dead Space 2 was canceled, or at least kind of put on the shelf by EA due to the disappointing sales numbers of the first game's remake. So after about a decade without anything new from the Dead Space series, EA and Motive blessed us last year with a really excellent remake of the first game that understood what made it so special while improving on it in pretty much every way. It was a little bit easier than the original, but it's still one of the year's best games and something that really indicated a bright future for the series. But Dead Space 2 remake, unfortunately, it doesn't look like their sales numbers are projected to do pretty good, so they've kind of put that one on the shelf. So I know Matt has got this disappointed, dejected look on his face.
I'm heartbroken with this one. The good news is for me that Dead Space 2 is at least on Game Pass for me to be able to jump in and try. This is okay. So I will admit that I was not big on horror games until about 4 years ago. I'll give a really quick background story here. I got my PlayStation 5 and Resident Evil Village was announced shortly afterwards. And my other half, Taz, here was saying it would be great if you tried something new. I want to see you play Village. Well, before we invest money on a $90 game, let me try the original version, like 7. It's included with my PlayStation. See what it's like. Loved it. Fell in love with the horror genre. And that's what got me into it. Dead Space was one that I always wanted to try after that. When the remake of Dead Space 1 was announced, I was so excited. Of course, like everything, I pre-ordered it, played it day one, fell in love with it. And I will actually say that I thought Dead Space was actually going to be better received than Resident Evil 4 last year. That's how much I enjoyed it. Resident Evil 4 was great, don't get me wrong, but I enjoyed Dead Space just a tiny bit more. I think it was just the environment, the sound design. Like I played with my headset on, you could hear enemies in the background, and you can hear stuff dripping off the walls. It was just so well done. I was so excited for it. Was really excited to get my hands on number 2. So now with this announcement, I'll go play the original because I kind of want to see where that goes. But maybe what I'll do is I'll play the actual original to be able to compare the two, because there are some differences. I've had this conversation with Monster as well, and he's just like, it's Dead Space is what he said. There's not a huge difference between the original and this. There's improvement of life, basically, is what it was to him. But I'm disappointed about this. But I also know that EA is very big on where's the money, and that's kind of their bread and butter, is also microtransactions and stuff. This was the first time in a long time I was thinking, hey, you did awesome, great job. And now that it's like, it didn't sell as well, we're not going to do it. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, Robbie, any thoughts on the game or the genre?
I mean, it all comes down to money in the end, and it's sad to say that it got shelved because the first game didn't sell as well as they wanted. But honestly, how many times have we seen that in the past? Really?
all too often. And yeah,
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same line as you. Like, unfortunately, I'm not that big into the horror genre. It's never really been my cup of tea, particularly because my ticker doesn't really handle jump scares all that well.
Oh,
But yeah, okay.
I will say though, if you do have a chance to play Village, I would recommend it. It's not scary. It's creepy. It's not scary.
I mean,
It's
I'd play it for two very big reasons.
Yeah.
But
yeah, okay. Yeah.
uh,
I know
although
exactly where
to
you're
be
going.
fair, I mean, I remember you issued this challenge here before about us playing games kind of outside of our main box. I am very very tempted to go back and play the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, or even maybe even 4 to add to that list. I did play the original Resident Evil 4 kind of around the time when it first came out. And I didn't mind it. Actually, I had fun with it. I beat it, in the various different ways that you can beat it. I played the Ada Wong side missions with that as well. So yeah, it's not normally a game that I would play on stream, but that might be a set of games that I may potentially revisit later on down the road.
Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes are both on PlayStation Plus Extra right now, by the way. Just
Good to know.
and Resident Evil 2 was actually when it's like, hey, I got time to kill, I'll jump into it because it's always different. That's the thing. Like in that police station, you never know where the tyrant is. You'd never know where Mr. X is, and that's the thing. Like you turn to go, oh, there he is, and you're trying to boot the other way and try to find a way around him. But yeah, if you played the second one before, it's going to be the same type of thing, a little bit of creepier environment, but it's again one of those games that's creepy, not scary. I would argue that 7 is the one that actually scared the crap out of me. And there's a lot of jump scares there, but at least for me. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, 2 and 3 are fantastic. 2 is definitely better than 3 though.
Oh, good
And
to
4 was better than all of them.
Well, we'll have to give those a look. All right, so moving on to the next little bit of news here. The next little bit of news revolves around Star Wars Outlaws. We do actually have a release date now. Now that they have released the story trailer for it, we are looking at a release date of August 30th on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, and pre-orders are now currently live. But the game is facing a little bit of backlash on the cost of the game. So the base game, the base price for it right now is $89.99, which is fairly standard for kind of what we're seeing in games nowadays. But there are 2 upgrade editions. So you're looking at the Gold Edition, which includes 3 days of early access, as well as the the season DLC pass. The price for that one, this is in Canadian dollars, I believe, is $144.99. So $145 for the Gold Edition. Then there's the Ultimate Edition, which is the base game, the pre-order bonuses, which includes the Rogue Infiltrator bundle cosmetics, as well as the Sabak Shark bundle cosmetics. And then same thing as the Gold Edition, 3 days early access, the season DLC pass, and the price for that one is listed at $169.99, so $170 for the Ultimate Edition, which would probably be, a lot of people would probably call that like the collector's edition, I guess, of the game too, depending on which way you look at it. There are some additional bonuses in the season pass, which includes the Jabba's Gambit exclusive mission, which will be available at launch, as well as the Kessel Runner character pack, which features some additional cosmetics for the Kay and Nyx characters, which you see in the story trailers. So, yeah, these are some pretty hefty prices for the pre-orders. Like I was saying, $90 for a game nowadays is starting to become the standard. But seeing like $145 and $170 for the upgrade editions, yeah, that one might actually deter even me from looking at those.
There is actually a cheaper way of doing this, by the way. I failed to put this in the document, so I apologize for that. And I think the part of the reason they're doing this is they're actually trying to push Ubisoft Plus, because that's the one thing that I actually failed to mention. Ubisoft Plus is actually going to be $19.99 a month, and it's going to come with 3 days early access. It's going to be basically the gold edition. So you get the
Okay.
gold edition for $20 a month. So for those that are looking at playing this game and that are upset about the prices, here's an idea. Get Ubisoft Plus for a month. Pay for the $20. Get it done within the month. Cancel the subscription. You'll get it. You'll be able to play it for $20 rather than having to pay any of these prices and owning the game. So there's a little bit of a workaround, and they know that that's what people are going to be doing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's
So
one thing that you could do to kind of twist things around, turn things around a little bit.
yeah. I'm wondering. I don't know if they've ever done it with any of the Star Wars games previous, but having like either like a beta test or a playable demo. I know they've done beta testing for Battlefront and Battlefront 2. But I don't recall if they did anything like that with like Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order.
We're talking Ubisoft here. It's not going to happen.
Either way, I mean, it is a Star Wars game. I'm a huge Star Wars fanatic. If you've paid enough attention on these episodes of the podcast, you've probably seen me wearing a bunch of my Star Wars shirts that my lovely wife.
Discord.
You know, this one is, yeah. But you know, my lovely wife has been
30 years.
my lovely wife has been you know, has always been picking up those Star Wars comic book t-shirts for me. Absolutely love them. You've probably seen me wear them on the show. Anybody who knows me, I'm a big Star Wars fan. But like I said, I've usually been the kind of person as a content creator, you know, that I like to go for some of the upgraded versions of games just to get a few of the extra collectibles, get some of the perks and bonuses. But at $170 though, that one kind of scares me a little bit. I probably will still get the game, but I think I'm probably going to be going with just the base game to start with, just to kind of save a few bucks. I don't really feel that like jumping from 89 to 145, like jumping up basically $50 just for 3 days early access, and a season pass that we don't even know, you know, what's coming later on down the road. I don't know. I don't see the value in that extra $50.
I actually have already pre-ordered my copy. Shocker. And of course, I know I get slack for it, but the reason why I basically do that is I like to get my reviews out to tell people what my thoughts are. So the people that are paying attention to my page don't waste their money on crap games is the one reason why I do it. But I went with the regular edition for a few different reasons. For me, I don't mind waiting the extra 3 days anyways. Mainly because around that time frame, I am going to be returning from Edmonton from seeing Metallica. So I can wait those extra few days. So I mean, under the circumstances, I'm fine with paying the $90. That's standard price for games. But yeah, I get the reason why people are upset about that for sure. So there's that backlash as well. I get the price issue for sure.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I don't know, Rob. What are your thoughts on either the prices or even just the game in general?
I mean, games have always been on the pricier side of things, even back in the Nintendo era. You were looking at what, maybe $50-$60 for a game?
Or even
But
more.
yeah,
Like I
there's
remember
more.
some SNES games were like the $70-$80 range too.
Yeah. So this is nothing new, but with the, you know, with added content. Like I was just looking on Steam here and just pop my head. I was looking at WWE 2K24. You know, the base game itself right now is like $67. Deluxe edition is $101. And then you get the 40 years of WrestleMania, $135. Like if
The thing is, I want to add to. Sorry to cut you off here, Irish.
no worries.
This pricing's not new for
No,
Ubisoft.
it's not.
All these prices are exactly in line with Assassin's Creed. And I know that we talked about it last week, but Assassin's Creed is their bread and butter. These are the exact same prices. that Assassin's Creed had. We got a bit of a price break last year because it was a smaller game. The Ubisoft has been in financial straits. They're having issues, and they're trying to recover their money. Skull and Bones did not perform the way that they were hoping.
Yeah, that one flopped hard.
And they need something to recover. And I think that this is going to be turned into their flagship this year, and it's going to have to sell well. And I think it's got an opportunity to, just because of the series, the lore that's behind it, and then being able to fly your own ship around. I think people, as much as they're complaining about it, they're going to spend the money on this one.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
Star Wars. Like you stick Star Wars on anything, and you're gonna have an entire fandom worldwide that that's going to be pining over this. I mean, like take a look at how closely a lot of people have been following the Knights of the Old Republic remake, for example. Like there's a lot of eyes on that one in particular too, and Outlaws is really going to be no different, especially with the storyline being where it is. Like for those of you who saw the story trailer, if not, a small spoiler warning, you get to be part of the crime syndicates. You get to deal with Jabba the Hutt.
Nice.
You get to see you get to see him in the story trailer too. So,
A Han
so
Solo
if you're
frozen in carbonite.
yeah, you got to see Han Solo frozen in carbonite. So chances are pretty good. If you're going to be on Tatooine, you're going to be dealing with the Twin Suns Syndicate, which is probably the most famous crime syndicate on Tatooine. There's a few others as well. I can't remember the names of all of them, but we might see some you might see some additional story that crosses back over. I think it was from Solo. You might see might see a little bit of Kira, who was played by the same actress that played Daenerys Targaryen. Why can't I can't think of her name now all of a sudden. Someone help me out here. I can see her face, but
Clark.
Emilia Clarke. Yes, that's the
Yeah.
one. So, anyways, yeah. So Kira, who's played by Emilia Clarke in the Solo movie, it looks like her character might be making an appearance in the Star Wars Outlaws story as well. So, we might see a little bit happen with that, and kind of get some tie-ins with some of that particular story. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to the game prices, I mean, as much as I'm remiss to say that I'm probably not going to pay the bigger price tags for the games, it's a Star Wars game. People are gonna buy it. I mean, that being said, I mean, a lot of people are gonna get flagged going, "Why would you spend $170 on on the Ultimate Edition game? It's a ripoff." At the end of the day, it's their money. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. When it comes,
I will say this though: it is a Ubisoft game. Be prepared to climb towers.
yeah, no kidding. But but yeah, I mean, like they are giving you some pretty good goodies to go along with it. Me personally, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I can justify it. We'll kind of see what happens. Closer to release date, or if we do get some kind of like playable demos, beta testings, things like that. But we are going to move on to the next part. The next part here. Looks like
it's still. I think it's still related to. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but it's still kind of related to Outlaws.
Okay.
There was another, a little bit more of backlash in regards to character design when it came to the female protagonist. Yeah, this again. We didn't touch base on this. For those that don't know, I try to get all the news and stuff together, and we try to avoid getting into too much controversy. Like, we don't want to feed too much into things that much. We kind of want to be non-biased, but it's come to a head that I was kind of humming and hawing about throwing this in, and I've gotten to the point where I think we maybe should say something. Gamers are mad about the ugly Star Wars Outlaws protagonist character design. And the thing is, it's people have been feeling like it's either one extreme or the other. They're either, they're intentionally made unattractive, or they're made too attractive and upset the other side. And that was kind of one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to include that as well. So that was kind of where I added that. So I didn't mean to interrupt. I kind of wanted just to say that was what was attached
Yeah.
to that as well.
No, it is a pretty big extreme. It's that, and yeah, for that exact reason, it's a point that I've been intentionally kind of avoiding on social medias. I don't want to get into arguments for, like, I have my own personal beliefs on the system. I'm not going to get into them here. And again, but I do try to avoid getting involved in those particular conversations on.
I have no problem getting into it. I'm gonna tell you what my opinion is. Let the developers do what they want.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
You want to make a character that is realistic, and you want to be able to have someone that they relate to. Perfect. You want to make them curvy, go for it. Who cares?
Exactly.
The thing that most players should care about is the story good? If the story, like, is the gameplay good? Other than that, are you having fun playing the game? One of the things with the Stellar Blade Backlash, they actually said, like, oh well, they're making her too curvy. The developer came out and said, I don't care. We put all of that work into the backside of her, because that's what players are going to be staring at for 90% of the time that they're playing. And they're not going to be looking at that area all the time. There's going to be action, there's going to be things to do, there's going to be actual gameplay. It's not easy combat all the way through either. Ryder and I both have known that with the demo. Who cares? And when it comes to, and Microsoft released a statement that with their developers as well, that they are recommending that they don't make female characters over exaggerated. Again, that's their prerogative. They want to be all inclusive. Fine. That's up to you. That's up to the company to decide. In my book, let the developers do what they want. Who cares? Go enjoy the game. Play the games that's out there. Just have fun. That's what we're here for. That's what we enjoy the game. Like, we enjoy games because we enjoy them.
Exactly.
100%
Give me a good story.
agree with you.
Yeah, give me a good story. Give me good gameplay balance. Give me good mechanics. And for all I care, the main character, you could stand up a frog and put a pair of double knit pants on him. I don't care. As long as everything else is good, I'll play it. That's the main thing.
Oh, so Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Both sides need to chill out. That's
Yeah,
what I'm going to say in regards
absolutely.
to that.
Yeah.
They need to chill out.
All right, so on to the next little bit here. So we've it's being said actually that Helldivers 2 is actually outselling Spider-Man 2 in terms of sales speeds. It's currently the top-selling game in the UK right now when it comes to both digital and physical formats. How surprised are you guys to hear a game like Helldivers 2 is outselling Spider-Man?
I'm not. AA games are where it's at right now. It was well priced, $50 for the game Canadian. Very affordable. Great time with your friends. And on top of it, here's the biggest thing. Sony said, release it on PC. And that's where the biggest thing is as well, where it came out. They're selling it well on all systems. And I'm going to say I would bet Spider-Man 2 will get closer to their sales once there's a PC release. But right now, it's such a great game. The developers are doing such a great job with it. I have an app on my phone in regards to, like, hey, there's a new order. Oh, we've got these planets to take care of. And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing that draws me in all the time, is the story's happening in real time. And that's the thing that I'm absolutely loving about that game. Spider-Man, you play it once, you get the story, it's a great gameplay, all of that. But Helldivers 2, the way that it's set up, it's going to run like this for years. Yeah. Irish Bandit, I am excited to be able to fight alongside you at some point with this game. I think you're going to absolutely enjoy it.
I think so too.
It's an absolute blast.
From what I've seen on Ryder streams, it looks so much fun. So.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And no, I'm not surprised at all. I'm
but I
not
mean,
surprised at all about selling Spider-Man 2. It
yeah,
looks
same
like a
here.
great game. It's from what I've seen so far, it looks like it could be a Game of the Year contender.
I would think it would be a nominee. I'm not expecting a win for that one. Is what I'm kind of expecting. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
games
would
coming
I
up
would
for Game of the
agree.
Year this year would be is going to be a little on the lighter side, I think.
It's going to be tough because like this year it's it's going to be it's a very quiet year.
Yeah, they almost have to
And
throw
that
extra games in there just to fill the list out.
yeah, I'm we'll see what happens, but like I'm not going to be too shocked if it's going to end up being Helldivers 2, of course Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Um and I if things are going the way that they are, I wouldn't be shocked if Stellar Blade gets that announcement as well as the contender. But again, we're in April.
Yeah, it's still early.
It's a long ways away, but it's hard to disagree with you for sure.
Yeah. All right, coming up to the next little bit of news here. We did mentioned a little bit more about, speaking of actually Stellar Blade, they are going to be getting some free DLC and a new game plus mode post-launch. The game also does release, fully release on the PS5. It is a PS5 exclusive, so it does release fully on April 26th. If you haven't had a chance to try the demo out, do go check it out. Like I said, your mileage may vary. Obviously, Mav enjoyed it really a lot. There was parts of it that I liked, but I think the parts that I didn't really like is going to kind of deter me away from the game. But absolutely, the demo is available now. Go download it, try it out for yourself, and see what you think. Yeah, like I said, the combat for me is kind of what kind of did it in. I didn't really enjoy the combat so much, but everything else in the game looked good. Like I said, the graphics look great. The music was fantastic. Actually, it was a very nice, very nice musical piece. The cutscenes were pretty well done too. Any other additional thoughts on this one from you guys? Mav, you're gonna say something?
Cool.
The DLC being free, more developers need to start doing something like this as well. And they did say like if there's going to be additional story content that they can include, they will for no cost. That being said, it sounds to me like it's going to be pretty complete, and a lot of the DLC content is going to be strictly cosmetics. And I think that like there's so many different options for what you're going to be able to throw on her in regards to ability for her suits and her abilities that are attached to it and all of that. So I'm happy that Shift Up is making this decision to be able to do that. I am very excited to get my hands on this game on the 26th. And in fact, actually, I have that day off. I will be streaming Stellar Blade Day 1 on Twitch.
Good. Yeah, and further to that point as well. So they were speaking to Ruli Web via looks like Genki Japan, I believe is what that was called. So Shift Up's Kim Hyung Tae, and I apologize if I've mispronounced that. So they said that the developers yet to decide if they're actually going to receive story DLC or not. It sounds like they're kind of leaning towards yes. There will also be a post-launch balance patch that is supposed to that is supposedly going to be able to attract new players to the game while simultaneously giving early players something to look forward to. And there was a quote here from Kim Hyung Tae that said, "If we accidentally miss something or there is something lacking, we will make up for it even after release. We would like to make it clear here that Stellar Blade does not require any additional purchases that gamers are not aware of other than the cost of purchasing the game. The only exception is if you create a collaboration costume with another company's IP, which will have to be sold for a fee." So I'm not entirely sure what that means in context. But yeah, I 100% agree with you, Mav, in that. Yeah, this is something that I wish developers would do more often rather than, staring down the gravy train saying, how can we extract more money from players? Well, let's just take this part out of the game and then lock it behind a paywall type of thing. I do wish a lot more developers would say, okay, here's some extra content for free.
Yeah. I think the collaboration part I'll kind of give a little bit of light on here. So Spider-Man 2 did actually have a collaboration here about 2 months ago. And they added on some additional suits. I'm going to look it up really quick. But they actually did a fundraiser, and to actually all the profits went 100% to this charity. Um, and I think that that's kind of the way that they're trying to they're talking about here. So it was actually just looking it up here, it was called the Fresh and Fly suit. And I believe it was, so it's going to a company called Gameheads. It's an Oakland-based firm which uses video game design development and DevOps to engage and prepare low-income youth and youth of color in the Bay Area. So it's a $5 for those suits, and it was all proceeds were going to Gameheads in regards to that. So that's kind of what the things that I think that they're kind of alluding to, that they're leaving the door open to be able to do something similar.
Yeah, that's something I really like seeing a lot of developers do is
Mhm.
if they're gonna release paid content later on down the road, whether that be like cosmetics or what have you, having them go to different like charitable causes and things like that, um, really kind of it sits really really well with me. Like Call of Duty has done it consistently. As much crap as that game has gotten over the years, one of the main consistent parts of their microtransactions in their store has always been the Call of Duty Code Pack, or Call of Duty Endowment Pack, where all the proceeds from those particular cosmetics go towards uh, uh, charitable causes that help military veterans that have gotten out of service, help basically kind of reintegrate them into society, either by finding jobs or placing them within government, different government entities, things of that nature. So yeah, seeing these particular types of charitable causes within the game, I think is a good way to go about it. Like if you're gonna make paid content, do something good with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought on it.
In regards to the combat as well, the part that they're talking about here as well, I believe they were talking about adding something similar to what like Final Fantasy 16 has, where you're going to have a little bit more of a button key or option for parrying and dodging. So that might open the door up for to bring new players in to make the combat a little less difficult, basically, in that case. Because I know that that's the one thing that's always scared me off of Souls games was the difficulty level of combat. So if they include something like that to make it a little less challenging and have you enjoy the combat a little bit more, and have the boss fights be a little bit easier to get through, that's something that I can get behind, and I think that's kind of one of the things that they're alluding to as well, to bring in new players. I thought they'd include that in the demo. They didn't. I've heard the developers talking about implementing that. So that is going to be a possibility. Maybe that would be something that would bring you in, Ryder.
Possibly, yeah. But we're going to move on to our last couple of pieces of news, which we're all excited to actually talk about here. So eventually this will be coming up on future episodes of the podcast, but showcase season is upon us. So we already had one earlier this year with the Winter Games Fest. But the first one that we're going to talk about here real quick, the Sony State of Play, which doesn't have an exact official date yet. We're looking at probably targeting around May 2024. So basically within the next month and a half, we should be seeing the Sony State of Play coming up, which obviously we here at the podcast, we are more than happy to do reaction videos to. We might not be able to do them live, although at some point in the future we would absolutely love to do a live reaction for you guys. But usually when they do these particular showcases, more often than not, usually ends up in the middle of the work week, like in the afternoon when we're all at work. But it is what it is. We still enjoy doing the reactions regardless. But for the Sony State of Play, the Sony State of Play, here are a few of the games that have been rumored that they're going to be talking about at this particular showcase. So Silent Hill 2, which I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if that one gets revealed. Ghost of Tsushima 2, fantastic game. I still have to try and finish that one at some point. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, another classic for the Metal Gear fans that are out there, and Marathon. So these are just these are now. Keep in mind, these are just rumors. These are not confirmed games that will be shown at the showcase. But these are simply just ones that will be rumored to be revealed at the showcase. So, pretty good list of rumored games there, though. Ghost of Tsushima 2, I would definitely be interested in. Like I said, I still have to try and finish the first one at some point in time. My backlog is starting to look a little bit like Mavs here, so
it's not that long yet, there, pal. Those are rookie numbers. Got to bump them up.
Yeah, I know, right? Thoughts, ideas, projections. What have you guys got?
Can't wait
Silent
to see
Hill.
what they bring.
Yeah, Silent Hill 2 and Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, I think, are absolutely positively going to be there. And the reason being is they're both scheduled still for this year, and they still don't have release dates. So that's the thing. Ghost of Tsushima 2, I'm hoping for. I know a lot of people are kind of hoping for. And there's rumored that it's going to be released next year. It's been in development secretly for a while, and I'm interested to see more on Marathon. I'm wondering what Bungie's going to do with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they announced that at Game Awards, didn't they? Or
They did
last year.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And yeah, and I do want to see a little bit more on that as well, for sure.
There'll be something
but
different, that's for sure.
And it's rumored to be that showcase is going to run for an hour, by the way.
Wow.
Hey, that's
so a heads
plenty of
up
stuff
on
for
that.
us to react to. I'm okay with that.
Same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what else to really expect for the Sony side of things there. The only thing I could possibly think of maybe that might get announced, and again, probably wouldn't be released for quite some time yet. Now, we all for Final Fantasy VII, obviously the third title in that series, that's not gonna come for at least another 3-4 years down the road. But I feel like there may be some kind of snippet or some kind of teaser similar for what they did with Intermission and Intergrade for Final Fantasy VII Remake, but for Rebirth. Maybe they add a little side story where maybe Vincent becomes playable, a la Dirge of Cerberus. Maybe something like that. Maybe possibly something with Sid, just to give people kind of a chance to actually delve into the Sid and Vincent storylines, and kind of get a little bit more context and backstory on their particular characters. Rob, you're giggling over there.
Nope. Not saying a word.
Here's the thing. No, go on, Irish. Let's hear it. No.
All right. Keep it okay.
I think there's DLC where we save her.
I like the excitement and the idea behind it. I think it might still be a little bit too early.
Probably.
Because I think that there's a lot of new players that are still going to be excited for it. We are going to get more state of plays this year. I think that it's possible that we may get some kind of announcement for DLC for it later this year. I personally don't see it at this showcase, though.
No,
I think it's selling too well right now, and maybe at that time frame
of Rebirth. So
yes, exactly. If anything, the exclusive rights for it to be on PlayStation 5 is only 3 months, which means we could potentially get some kind of announcement, maybe for PC release.
Would they announce something like that at the Sony State of Play, though?
I think they would. I absolutely
just because it's part of the Sony line, I guess, maybe.
Yes. Think about it this way: all of these games that are going to PC, that's under the Sony umbrella, that are going to PC, they're selling awesome. They're selling like gangbusters. It's going to be an opportunity to bring in more revenue, and Square is hurting for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why I absolutely believe that with that time frame, it came out in February. So February, we've got March, April, May. It's right around that time frame. maybe we could see a shadow drop on a PC for it. I think
Possibly,
that would
yeah.
be a big announcement for it if that happens.
I wonder if we'll see any news on the PS5 Pro.
That is a possibility. I would, yeah.
Or Xbox One.
I think we're going to be looking at maybe another state of play like after the Game Awards or the Summer Games Fest, and then making an announcement kind of closer to that for the holiday is what I'd be anticipating.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too. Speaking of the showcases, another showcase that's going to be coming up as well. This one has a bit more of a firm date. We're looking at June 9th for the Xbox showcase, which is going to be featuring the new Call of Duty and more. There's reports saying that Gears of War 6 might be coming. Gesundheit.
Thanks.
But yeah, June 9th, Xbox showcase. Reports saying Gears of War 6, which I know there's going to be a very big fan base that are going to be behind that. I mean, Gears of War 5 has been out for how long now? And we haven't heard anything from that since. Yeah, very much so.
I'm hoping to see a little bit more on South of Midnight because that one looks really interesting to me. And also there was another game that I was hoping to see more gameplay on, and it slipped my memory. It'll come back. I'm sure it'll come back to me. But
After we're done filming.
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, that's exactly the way that it's going to end up being.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
I mean, there's I'm hoping that there's going to be some decent announcements, and I do feel that Microsoft needs a little bit more of a win as well. They're having some issues with their games that actually a lot of developers are now actually, because of the lack of sales that Xbox has had, there's talk that a lot of developers aren't even thinking about releasing games onto the Xbox at all anymore. And that's more for like the AA studios, just because the numbers aren't there to release the games there now as well. So it's it's kind of a shame that that's happening. So I think that they're going to have to start leaning heavily on AAA games and first party development. So yeah, I mean, will be interesting to see Fable. That was it. Fable.
I was gonna say
Fable gameplay.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna interject and say, you know what? There's a game I would love to see. I mentioned it before. I think probably when we first started doing the podcast, when we were talking about Microsoft and Xbox releasing games. Like, I would absolutely love to see another Fable title come up.
Fable is happening.
I've only ever played the original, but
yeah,
it was a lot of fun then. So
it is happening. It is coming out. We don't have a release date. We haven't seen gameplay. We've only had trailers.
Yeah.
So
maybe
I'll drop that in for you guys though, by the way, so you can see that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean that it'd be nice to see something a little bit more concrete, possibly at the Xbox showcase for that.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, I really don't know. Yeah, like I said, I haven't really delved a whole lot into the whole Xbox scene. So I don't really know a whole lot of what I'd be looking forward to, in terms of game releases or game trailers. Basically beyond that, like I said, unfortunately, my title knowledge on the Xbox side of things is pretty minimal. Most of my knowledge is either going to be based on PlayStation, which I have right over here, or it's going to be by developer type of thing. I mean, I'm mostly a PC player, so if the Xbox showcase comes out, obviously there's going to be Game Pass stuff that's likely going to be available on PC too.
Yeah.
Pardon me. So yeah, well, we'll have to see what happens. But regardless, we here at the Level 1 Lounge, again, if the showcase, darn good and well, we are going to be reacting to it, highlighting it, talking about it, whether it be live or whether it be after the fact. Again, I believe this is one of those showcases where it's going to be in the middle of the week during work hours, so we're probably going to have to react to it after the fact. But at the same time, or at least at the very least, that when we do our reaction videos to it, we're going to be watching it for the very first time. So all of our reactions are going to be, genuine as we're watching it. So make sure you guys are also subscribed to the channel, so you guys don't miss when those particular reaction videos come out. Any final thoughts for you guys based on these showcases or anything you'd like to see come up?
I've highlighted everything I've wanted to see. I've been pretty vocal about it with you guys for a while. I'm fortunate enough to be able to have both consoles sitting in my living room right now. And I mean, at that point, we're already going to have Hellblade 2 come out, and at this point too. So there's a lot of good games that are going to be coming to Game Pass, but I'm excited to see more. But yeah, I don't have anything else I think I haven't touched on already.
Yeah, hopefully we see some good real surprise ones where we sit there and go, give one of
Yeah.
those kind of reactions.
Exactly.
Hopefully we'll have to see what happens. But in any case, that is where we're gonna end things up. So it's time to set the controllers down. It's time to power down. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of the Level 1 Lounge podcast. Again, Agent Maverick, you heard him talk about his Facebook page, the New Geek Corner, so make sure you guys go check him out. Again, everybody's links are all going to be down below in the video description. You can also catch him on Twitch, where he will be streaming Stellar Blade on day one on his Twitch channel, so make sure you check that out. And of course, we've got Irish Bandit Rob with his YouTube channel. If you guys want to check out all of his stuff there, he does a lot of gameplay reviews, talks about a lot of some of his favorite games, which includes Doki Doki Literature Club. He's going to be doing some Death Stranding is going to be coming back soon. And obviously, if you guys are Final Fantasy fans, he is going through the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster right now. You're still currently on Final Fantasy 1, I believe, which
Yes,
your
sir.
cave. Yep. So you guys don't want to miss the action there. So make sure you subscribe over to his channel. As for me, you guys can catch me over on Twitch on my channel. I stream 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays usually. I do also have a YouTube channel of my own. So guys, feel free to subscribe to that. But in any case, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of the week. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend now that the weather's getting nice for spring. We'll see you guys on the next level. Take care, everyone.